Good morning. Today's Thursday, the fourth day of Hanukkah, Baruch Hashem. Today we're learning the 16th Perek of Shabbos. Today's shiur is sponsored Lila Nishmas Ar Nachum ben Simcha Cohen, Yoshua Mordechai ben Shepsel, Baruch Asar Bashmol Le, Binah Moshe ben Yosef, ben Shemas Al-Ham Aliyah, Refuah Shlem, Adasar Bas Leah, Chana Pesel, Bas Yenta, Yisrael ben Rachel Leah, Rachel Bas Pesel Zelda, and Avram Yitzchak ben Risha, and Chayat Bas Doba Bela, Fus Nefesh and Fus Haguf, So Shachal Yisrael. Amen. I apologize for the background noise. I was at a bris today, and there's still people in the other room, and uh, hopefully be as hopefully it won't disturb us so much. Um, and also today's shiur is also sponsored by the Everest Equity Group. If you need a new mortgage for your home or if you're looking for a mortgage, reach out to them. They are they are sponsors of the shiur, and they should have much share for a bracha v'atzlach, especially during the week of Hanukkah, when they can help you save some guilt on your mortgages. And who doesn't want to put guilt back in their pocket, especially on Hanukkah? They'll last the whole year long. You never know. Okay, if you need their number, reach out to me after shiur and look them up online. It's Everest Equity Group. Okay, Perek Tezayin Mishnah Aleph Kol Kisvei Hakodesh Masilin Osam Ifnei Hataleka. We're talking about a fire. Okay, when a fire Chas Shalom breaks out, especially on Shabbos, what are the laws? What can you do? What can you put out? Can you put out a fire on Shabbos? Can you not put out a fire on Shabbos? So all Sifrei Kodesh, all of the books of Tanakh, they can be saved from a fire on Shabbos. You can remove them from a burning house or a courtyard to save them from being destroyed. Even though the Chazal prohibited saving property from a fire on Shabbos, they, because of the Kedusha, they martyred saving the Sifrei Kodesh. These may be saved whether they are Svarim that we read from on Shabbos or whether we don't read from them on Shabbos. Like we don't read. There are some Sefer Tanakh, especially the Iksuv, that we do not read publicly, like Tilim, Mishlei, Iyov, Devar Yamin. We don't read from them publicly ever, and so it doesn't matter. They're part of Sefer Tanakh, and they can be saved, all 24 of them. So now let's move into other languages. However, even if when they are written in any languages, so you translated this from of Tanakh. Um, so so that they cannot be used and they may not be saved from a fire and showers. We're not talking about the Sifrei Kodesh that are written in Lashon HaKodesh. Tun and Geniza, they still require storing. At other times, they have to be buried. They may not be abandoned, but they must be put aside. They have to be buried. They can't save them. You can't save them from a fire, but you can't throw them in the garbage either. Now, why do we not read from the Ksuvim on Shabbos? Built the base of Medrash because people would be mavata going to the base medrash. Typically on Shabbos, after you had your sudas, people would go back to the base medrash and learn the whole day because they were unable to learn the whole week. And a lot of those shiurim were halacha and things that are practical to everyday life. So Chazal prohibited learning suvim on Shabbos that people would not become fascinated by the stories and read them instead of isn't participating with the shiurim. So they said that's us to read them on Shabbos. Matzilin tika sefer ima sefer. You can save the coverings of a sefer Torah together with the sefer Torah itself. The tika tefillin ima tefillin, and you can save the bag of the coverings of the tefillin with the tefillin itself. And even if there's a little money in it, so if you have your tefillin, and a lot of people keep some money in their tefillin bag to give to tzedakah. So even if when you're saving a pair of tefillin from a fire on Shabbos, you can grab the whole tefillin bag with the money inside and bring it to safety. If you would have to require them to take the money out, then that would be a waste of time and cause a danger. Let's see in the sun to where maybe save them. Where can we put these farm hakadoshim or the tefillin on Shabbos to save them? The mavoish enema fulash to an alley that is not open. Means even to an alley that has walls on three sides and the fourth side is closed by just one post, then you could take it over there. And Beseira Omer Afam Foolish, Beseira says even to an open alley, to an alley that has no post at all on the fourth side, as long as it has three walls. I think the halacha, you can even take it into the point is to be able to take them out without causing too much chilul Shabbos. Mishnah Beis. Masilin Muslim shooters, we may save from a fire enough food for 3 meals that a person is required to eat on Shabbos, but no more. What is fitting for people to, you can save human food and you can save animal food because you need food for your animals. I'm not sure that the animals chayv and shalosh shudis, but you can save 3 meals of food for people and 3 meals of food for animals. So yeah, okay. So for human food, you can save three portions per person, but with animal food, it's only the amount of food that the animal would eat on Shabbos. It does not apply to animals because one is not required to feed this animal 3 meals on Shabbos, but the animal eats 3 times a day on Shabbos, or the day in general, then you would be able to say that for him. Kate said, how so? Under what conditions may a person save food for 3 meals? Nafla delay kablele Shabbos, Muslim Shabbos. So if a fire broke out on Friday night, on Shabbos night, then before the meal starts, then you can save the amount of food required for 3 meals from night Shabbos day and Shabbos. Shachos, let's see in Muslim states. Those if it broke out in the morning before the daytime meal, then you would only be allowed to save 2 meals. And if the fire broke out in the afternoon before Shalosh Shidduch, then you'd only be able to save the food for 1 meal. Rabbi Yossi says, Rabbi Yossi says you can always save enough for 3 meals, no matter when the fire breaks out. Since the food is being carried to a courtyard, in which the carrying is mutter, then really he should be able to carry as much food as he wishes. It's only the Chachamim that limited the amount of food that may be saved from a fire to only 3 meals. According to Yossi, when they did so, they did not make any distinction as to when the fire breaks out. So even the food one is permitted to save may be carried only to a place where carrying is completely mutter, as there's a courtyard with an Erev on it. Only in the case of the Sifrei Kodesh did they come not limit the carrying to a safe place. Okay, but Matzilin, I just really wonder like how this doesn't really stem with like modern I want to say minhagim, but modern customs. When a fire breaks out, you get the people and you get out of the house, and you you go to safety. I don't know anyone who had a fire that they were busy schlepping food and everything else. They got the Sefer Torah out, let's say, but as far as food, they just went to the neighbors and ate food over there. So It's a difference between Mishnah and halacha to modern day practice, which is doesn't go according to the Mishnah. Matzilin. Furthermore, if the fire broke out at Shabbos afternoon, you only had food for one meal left. So even according to Yossi, who says you could save three meals worth of food, you're taking stuff from the freezer, you're taking stuff from that's what you're thinking about at that moment is to go have enough food for 3 meals, which will last for the next day or two. I think this mission needs a little bit more of a hesber, for modern day applications, but there's an halachic here, so let's go off. Let's go right there. Okay, Mishnah Gimel Matzilin Sal Malik Ikaros Rava Pishi Yishbo Sa Rava Yishbo Mea Sudos. You can save a basket full of loaves of bread from a fire, even though it contains enough food for 100 meals. The eagle shall trela, and likewise we can save a round cake of pressed figs, even though it has enough figs for many meals. The chavis shall yayin, we may save a barrel of wine, even though it contains enough wine for many meals. Since all the bread, figs, and wine in the container are saved at once, the Chacham did not limit the amount that can be saved. If and the owner of a burning house can say to the others, come and save food for yourself, and each one may take for themselves food for 3 meals. If these others and they were knowledgeable in the halachic Shabbos and knew that they can return the food to the owner of the burning house and take the money for the efforts instead of keeping the food for themselves, they may make a cheshbon with the owner after Shabbos as to how much of the work, as to how much effort they put into saving the food, and they can take their pay for saving the food and helping him out. To where may they save the food? To what area? To what kind of area may the food be carried on Shabbos in order to save it from the fire? The Chatzer Hamil Revis, to a courtyard that has an eruv, only to a place where it's permissible to carry, and no special leniencies were made to save food from a fire. Ben Beseira Omer Aflish Enamil Revis. And Becerra says that even to a courtyard that doesn't have an eruv, he says that the Chachamim waived the requirement of an eruv when it's necessary to save food from a fire and permitted carrying the food into a courtyard that was not joined in such an eruv. Mishnah Daled Ulisham, and to the type of courtyard mentioned in the previous Mishnah, Motzi Kol Klei Tashmisho. He may carry out all the utensils he needs to use for his meals on that Shabbos. And he may put on all the clothing that he can put on, even more than one of each type of garment. Like he can put on 10 shirts on top of the others, and 4 pairs of pants, and 16 of this, and 12 of that. And he may wrap himself with all that he can wrap around himself, the kerchiefs and the shawls, and wear them all out to the courtyard. Rabbi Yossi says, Shmona Asakilim, he says you can only put on 18 garments that people usually wear together. There were 18, the Bartanura brings down, there were 18 types of garments that people would wear at once. A cloak, a coat to coat, a wide belt worn over the outer garment, a short, thin garment, an undershirt, a belt worn on the undershirt, a hat, a cap, a pair of shoes, a pair of leggings. The pair of shoes and the pair of leggings counts as two, but it's for two legs and 2 shoes, and a pair of gloves that covered the arm as far as the elbow. That's a pretty long arm. That's a pretty long glove. 2 curses used to dry oneself, but also used as garments, and a kerchief that covers the head and the shoulders, and a scarf. Those are the 18 garments that a person can wear out, and not more. The chozer, the lovesh hamotzi, and he may repeat this procedure and return and put on more garments and take them out as well. Amy, and he may say to others, come and save them with me. Again, I'm not really so sure the practical application of this because like it, if you're doing all of that, you're saving the Sefer Kodesh, you're saving the food, you're saving your clothing. The fire must have been burning for a very long time, and most fires are not like that. So how much time does the guy actually have to spend in the smoke inhalation and to save his clothing? Like, I'm not fully holding in all these nights and the practical applications. But okay, the Bita is amazing. Tell me we got to learn it. Mishnah Hey, Rabbi Shimon ben Nana, however, Shimon ben Nana says, Porson or Shagadi al Gabe Shida Teva Amigdal Shachas Bahen Eshaor. We may spread moist hide of a baby goat of a kid over a wooden chest, box, or closet that partially caught fire. Which effectively stops the fire from spreading because the moist hide only gets singed rather than burnt. Whether they are and you can make a barrier with any vessels, ben malayan ben mikana, whether they are full of water or empty. The shiur shelo taver adileka, so the fire does not pass and burn items behind the vessels. Rabbi Yossi Omer b'chli cheres chadashim le'emayim. Rabbi Yossi, however, forbids making a barrier with new vessels that are full of water. The fish she'ein yicholin the kabel es ha'or, because such vessels, being new and not so hard, cannot withstand the fire. So they burst from the heat. And the water they contain extinguishes the fire. According to Yossi, causing the fire to be extinguished is also you can contain it, but you can't cause it to be extinguished. Mishnah Vav. If a non-Jew comes to extinguish a fire in a Jewish home on Shabbos, we may not tell them to put it out. But we also need not tell him, do not put it out. Why? Because responsibility for the non-Jews resting from halacha on Shabbos is not the responsibility of a Jew. Meaning that the Torah does not require us to stop a non-Jew from performing halacha on his own, even for a yid. However, if a Jewish child comes to extinguish the fire on his own, and Shoman we do not listen to him, we must stop him. Because the Jewish child's keeping Shabbos is chiyuv on the adults. Two more to go. Kofin ka'ara al gabi aner. We may turn over a bowl and place it over a lamp. Bishvil shalatochas bakura, so that the flame in the lamp will not catch onto the beam in the ceiling and set it on fire. Although the beam is muksa, we may move the bowl in order to protect it. And you could also place a bowl over chicken excrement, which often draws the interest of a small child, and so he does not soil himself when he's playing with it. Although the excrement is muksa, you can move the bowl in order to cover it. Well, akrav shelo tishach, and you can even place a bowl over a scorpion to trap it so that it does not sting anyone. Even if its sting is not deadly, but only painful. There's no malacha d'oraisa of trapping here, since the purpose of trapping the scorpion is not to make use of it, but only to keep it away. While the Rabbanan law forbids trapping, even for this purpose, it is allowed when necessary to prevent pain. Rabbi Yehuda said, "Ma'aseh about Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai Ba'arav." There was an incident where someone trapped a scorpion with an overturned bowl, and it came before Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai in the city of Ara, which is a city in the Galil. Rabbi Yochanan said, lo mechatas. I fear for him that he is chayav to being a kohen chatas because he may have transgressed a din deraisa, even though his purpose is only to keep the scorpion away. Only if the scorpion sting would have been deadly would he have been allowed to trap it on Shabbos. And finally, Mishnah Ches, Oved Kochavim Shehidlik Es Haner, if a non-Jew lit a lamp on Shabbos for his own use, Mishtamish Aro Yisrael, a Jew may use its light, V'im B'Shvil Yisrael, but if the non-Jew lit for the benefit of a Yid, it's usher for a Jew to use its light on Shabbos. Okay, another case. If a non-Jew drew water from a Rishus Yachid to give his animal to drink in Rishus Harabim, Mashka Achrav Yisrael, a Jew may give the remainder of that water to his own animal to drink after the non-Jew has finished. But if the non-Jew drew the water for the benefit of the Yid, Usher is Usher for a Jew to make. It's also for you to use this water because it was done for the Jew's benefit, not for the Goy's benefit. Third case. If a non-Jew made a ramp for himself or wished to come down from a ship, then a Jew can come down from the ship and by using the ramp after him. But if the non-Jew made it for the benefit of the Jew, Usher is Usher for a Jew to use the ramp. Maisa Rabbi Gamliel was an incident that happened with Rabbi Gamliel and the Chachamim. She'ayabarim b'sfina, when they were arriving in a ship that docked on Shabbos. V'asa Rabbi Kochavim keves leirebo, and a non-Jew made a ramp upon which they were able to come down from the ship. Yardu bo Rabbi Gamliel was a Canaan, and Rabbi Gamliel and the Chachamim, they used it to come down from the ship since the non-Jew made it for himself. Thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you tomorrow for Perek Yitzie. Happy Hanukkah.